go racing. Ben Green makes a good start. Chris Lalo on the outside line needs to try to slot in if he can, or stand his ground on the outside line and take the battle to his teammate coming out of turn one, which he does. Here comes Jordan Pepper in third place, looking to try to find a way past the Ferraris as you look down from the drone up towards turn two, then three for the first time. Which Ferrari is it going to be? It's both of them. They're side by side. Lallam on the inside, Ben Green on the outside. And they're still tied together coming over the brow of Hunsrück. Ben Green hanging on to the advantage then as the cars work their way through. Jordan Pepper looks for a way to get up into second place, can't do it. Ben Green managing to stay ahead. Now people take a bit of a deep breath as they drop down towards turn 7. But a really dramatic start to the race.
Yeah, Maranello there, a lot of grass, a lot of curb. I think Lulham could have had the lead there if it wasn't against his teammate Green. He could have run him up to the wall on the exit of 3, decided he better not do that on his teammate. Now Ben Green can have the chance to escape, and he is at the moment. Pepper in third, and it's looking pretty racy down, but it's been a much, much cleaner start than yesterday.
Through they turn then. Lap 1, Ben Green leads, off the road goes one of the Garage 59 McLarens, and he gets onto the grass the other side of the gravel bed, so that is going to enable the Adam Smalley Louis Pret entry to dig itself out the other side. Louis Pret back on track then, but that's going to throw him right the way down to the bottom of the order, hemorrhaging places as Ferrari 1, Ferrari 2, Lamborghini 3, Ferrari 4 come through at the end of lap 1. Starts under investigation as per normal, and Ben Green will put 1 lap in the book, heading the Emil Frey fleet across the line.
Yeah, Pepper sticking to the rear of Lulham at the moment on this opening lap. Leclerc starting to drop back, isn't he? He's now got the Audi of Leclerc right over him. Benji Goff doing well as we see an Audi going to the inside. Is he going to get the move done? Gets it done. That looked nice and clean. That was Perez Compact on Houston from the Paradigm BMW.
Pepper on the attack once again, trying to get up the inside then, but couldn't quite do it there. Look further back in the pack as this big field comes through. Now, can Pepper grind his way up the inside going into turn 3? No, he can't, because Lulham is able to close the door in anticipation and get the right line for that banked left-hander.
Pepper's going to see if he can make Lulham crack here. I don't think he will. The sim racers seem to come onto the scene with a very cool, calm, almost an arrogance that real world is easier, as we see the 991 car of Darren Lung all over the back of the Lamborghini. Darren is getting faster and faster, but Zandvoort is a hard track to attack at, and at the moment he's not able to do anything.
Leclerc, the Alpine Euro Cup champion 2 seasons back, another convert from single-seaters into GT machinery, and now he's going to make a move coming out of 13. A big drama with a puncture tyre. Leclerc is off the racetrack.
He was deep into the chicane. I saw him dip a wheel in the gravel. Was that because he had an issue, or was that what's caused the puncture? He's got to get out of the way of his teammate as well, and Hamsey in contact stays out, interestingly.
Couldn't cut across maybe, or doesn't realise quite what he's got. So either Arthur Leclerc couldn't go from the far outside and cut across the traffic to get in, or the tyre is deflating but not fully deflated. He's going to learn about it on this lap though when he turns a corner.
Yeah, he really is, and he's done well to not get in the way of too many people as we go on board with Ures here, coming through the 992 Parody car, the sister car to Darren Lund. Can see the Audi in front. We've got a good drive. We're very quick in sector 1 in this BMW, and we've got to try and make it pay as we sweep through 6. There's such a short break here at 7, and Leclerc's going slow. It doesn't look like it's on the right side, just trying to spot on the left as we tumble through 7 now. You can just see this is where the BMW starts to lose out on the more nimble Audi in these mid-speed corners. The long wheelbase of the BMW is not the one you would choose.
You can see the graphic, the speed that Maxime Houston is pulling around the circuit. Second gear coming out of turn 9, grabs third up towards 10, then back on the brakes, down to second gear to just about 82 kilometres an hour, back on the power the other side of the corner. Big grandstand on the right, down towards the chicane, and on this lap, Maxime Houston in the Silver Cup BMW, still chasing after Ezekiel Perez Compact, but not close enough to make a move, and of course they've gained a place with Arthur Leclerc's travails on the previous lap. Leclerc's going to have to pit. The task for AF Corsa now is going to be to keep the Ferrari on the lead lap. But for the race lead now, it is game on. Ben Green can't get away from Chris Lulham. Jordan Pepper is still there with them, thinking, right, let's just see for a lap or so what these two team, in quotes, mates are going to do.
Yeah, I've just spotted Lulham's mirror, actually. It's on the exit of turn 3 on the right-hand side. I think that was lap 1. I think that's how close he was with Ben Green. We didn't follow the shot through on lap 1, but I think that's where that mirror's gone, and they want to retrieve it because it's €3,500, but it will be hurting him every time he turns right. He won't be able to have that sort of natural glance into his right mirror to see where Pepper is. At the moment, it's not a problem. Pepper roughly 9/10 of a second behind as it stands, but that will hurt as we go back on board with Jordan Pepper. Let's have a look at the onboard. His arms are calm at the moment. Let's watch as he goes through the chicane. What's the balance of the car? Have we got understeer? We have to turn much. We have to catch oversteer. He's able to place the car perfectly, aggressively on the throttle. It's a fair amount of steering lock and great traction. Nails the throttle, 550 horsepower roughly coming from this V10 Huracan, and it goes through the high-speed corners looking well balanced too. You can get a race car that's mega in slow speed but terrible at high speed and vice versa. But at the moment, that Grasser Lamborghini handling like a dream. And that will be served in the pit stop, like we said at the start. The team won't be able to touch the car for 10 seconds, and that will feel like an eternity.
And as you made the point, the two parallel lines going over the grid boxes is always explained in the driver's briefing. There's an illustration of what the race director requires, so it's not that it's a surprise. Now, Jordan Pepper is about to have a go. Is he for second place? He's done it once. It briefly worked, but he has a look to the inside at Tarzan. It does not pay out for him on this lap. And as soon as Lallam has to defend, so Ben Green just gains a length or so up the road. Lawrence Leclerc is fourth, small gap back to fifth. Benji Goethe sixth is Kelvin van der Linde. That's your fight for seventh on board with Engel. He's eighth, looking for the gap on the inside. Sven Muller goes up wide. Engel tries to get to the inside, doesn't work.
So hard to make work, 19 degrees of camber there. It just favours the outside. You can see the Porsche now of Muller. Is that a lot of smoke coming from the right-hand side? There's some kind of fire going on there. I don't think it's tyre smoke. It looked like it was coming from the front right corner of the car. That's where the exhaust sits in the Mercedes, into that sill. Is it touching the carbon? Is it starting to burn? It's cleared now. That was a scary moment as we rode on board. The smoke engulfing the cockpit is luckily cleared. They may be pitting at the end of this lap. The pit window is open. They might be able to address that, but the car will only be stationary for around 18 seconds.
So right now he's got himself up with the Barwell Lamborghini. Up the inside he goes, wriggles away through and takes the place away.
Yeah, nice move. I love when you see the exit of these corners and the cars putting down a set of 11s as they accelerate. Super hard traction control on these cars, but they're so complex these days. They allow the perfect amount of slip, and here are the race leaders.
New fastest lap of the race, Max Janssen, who is currently in 19th place, but he has done a 1:34.9 as the best lap. Green, Lallam, Pepper, behind them in 4th place. Benji Goethe almost there. I still think a dark horse for a win might yet be the Kelvin van der Linde, Charles Wirtz BMW, that he's currently 5th on the road. He's going to gain with the penalties for the Emil Frey Ferraris and with the good pit work from WRT. In comes Green, Lallam stays out. In comes Pepper, in comes Goethe, in comes the BMW of van der Linde, in comes Engel. So Chris Lallam now does lead. Split strategy for Emil Frey. In other words, put the cars on different laps so you're not double stacking. So is this race going to develop into a battle between number 63 Lamborghini and 32 BMW? We'll find out after this round of pit stops.
Race on pit road. WRT actually driving through the Winwood Mercedes pit box. That would have been predetermined from the teams. Helps them both out. Which colour car are we going to see to get into pit lane first? Remember that yellow Mercedes caused a collision with the GRT car. It was Engel versus Pepper. You can see Engel now in pit road. They're all going to drop. WRT are going to be in front by the looks of it.
WRT win on the pit stops yet again. So Charles Wirtz jumps through ahead of Luca Engschler. That's going to put them into the race lead. Fantastic pit work again by WRT. Battle on here. Gabriele Piana in the Winwood Racing Mercedes ahead of Augusto Farfus in the Paradigm BMW, and then Bastien Bus, who was on pole position outright yesterday. This, therefore, is 3rd, 4th, 5th in bronze. Mercedes, AMG, BMW, and then Porsche.
Yeah, and the Porsche boost caught them by 7/10 of a second, and this battle's been raging on for the last 7 or 8 laps. Last time we saw it, they were side by side at turn 1, but Farfus doesn't have the ability to get past. As we see, the top speed is in that Farfus car, the fastest car, 261 kilometers an hour from the McLaren of Rouget, then an Audi, then 2 Porsches, one of them being Boost. So 2 of the fastest 4 cars are nose to tail with that graphic sponsored by AWS.
And there, look, Engschler has another think about a move down towards turn 9. Couldn't quite squeeze up the inside, but not for the want of trying. Arthur Rougier, the fastest driver, equal by Charles Wirtz and Max Janssen at turn 14, the last corner on the lap. And now, again, they all start to queue up behind Klimenko's Audi. Down they come towards the chicane at turns 11 and 12, but the Lamborghini just not near enough to make a move.
No, very similar cars. The chassis and engine almost identical between the Lamborghini and that Audi. We keep talking about that Audi. It's starting to become slightly obsolete. GT Racing Audi Sport the most dominant GT3 manufacturer in history, decided they don't want to continue with this project, so some teams now have to go it alone. Santolog have been world class for many years, and that's why they're able to keep this old, I say, in inverted commas, car at the front. Second place, first in class still at the moment.
Lest you forget, Charles Witz is still leading the race by 8.7 seconds. He just cleared off up the road as Engler again feints to the inside line at 9. Still can't do it. That gives Kirchhoff a renewed optimism now because he's right on the back of that slightly impeded Lamborghini. Auer tries to get up the inside of the McLaren as well as defend for the Porsche. They all run nose to tail off the corner. There's no change in the order. The frustration from Engler, Kirchhoff, Auer, Niederhauser must be off the clock. That's enabled Klimenko to get away by a few lengths.
It has, and that is exactly what he wants to see. These cars running so close, considering how much of their lap time they generate from downforce, which obviously creates turbulent air. The positive is you get slipstream. The negative is you lose grip following this closely. The front end of the car is much more effective than the rear and dirtier, and it feels so difficult to get the car in. It's an unsure feeling. You're trying to just nurse the car in, but you're never quite sure what grip you've got underneath you. So to be able to run this close for this many laps is super impressive without a major mistake from any of these guys.
Up towards turn 9 they go. Kirchhoff are covering off. Auer, Niederhauser is on the attack once again as well. Alex Archer chipping away. Of course, he needs to get through all of that traffic before he could attempt to challenge Klimenko for the silver win. So Klimenko's got a big buffer there, and a really outstanding drive this has been. If he's driver of the day, well, I can't think of anybody better, can you, at the moment, to take the mantle. It's been a mega drive. As again, Niederhauser tries to get up alongside the Mercedes AMG down towards turn 11. Lucas Auer puts the car exactly where he needs to be, hangs onto the place, and with just 6 minutes on the clock, they come up towards the end of lap number 33. It's still Charles Weerts. After Kelvin van der Linde was stuck in traffic and had to work very hard in his stint, Charles Weerts has just had a lonely half an hour.
We've already said what a good job that car's doing, but that has reeled in that battle in front. So the bronze car leader Dennis Marshall, now behind factory driver Sandy Mitchell, is got a hard decision to do here. Does he fight Sandy for 22nd overall, or does he consolidate his class lead in the Bronze Cup, which is the more important and the more obvious choice in my opinion?
That's Mathis Lismont in the Corvette going through. That was another car that was penalised. So 24th now is the Chevrolet. And Arthur Rougier second in bronze, 25th overall. Fastest lap of the race. Arthur Rougier is a much underrated driver, very rapid. He drives, he helps run the CSA, Concept Sport Automobile team, and he's doing a really impressive job in whichever role he fulfills, you've got to say. There, a little bit of hip and shoulder as diving down towards the chicane goes on Faisal Al-Zubar, and that forces the Audi off the road, back onto the racetrack there. Goes 25 Gilles Magnus. That was for third in gold, and Al-Faisal Al-Zubar had the place at the start of the lap. He's retained it, but in rather uncompromising fashion. Last lap, you're looking at the leader, Charles Weerts.
Blasts away, no traffic in front. Aston Martin's a back marker, so that's not for second place either. And with the gap at over 12 seconds, he can really relax. None of these drivers can relax. It's quite the opposite. Is Klimenko going to be able to do enough? Is Alex Archer going to be able to put any pressure on Niederhauser in front?
Been a long time since we've had a silver crew on the podium. You've got to go back to, I think, 2022 for Mr. Power, Pierre-Alexandre Jean to find them. A drama amongst the Bronze Cup because that is Dylan Pereira in the gravel at turn 11. But Charles Weerts is on target for a race win. There are going to be yellow flags out at the turn 11-12 chicane. Charles Weerts leading Ivan Klimenko, leading Luca Engler. The cars now come down towards the final sequence of corners, and there is the WRT run BMW. Kelvin van der Linde started it. Charles Weerts brings it home, and he's had a really, it seems, comfortable stint way up the road from anybody else. A brilliant drive by Klimenko, who is still hanging on to second place, and with those yellow flags out, it takes away an overtaking opportunity for those behind. Checkered flag at the ready. Charles Weerts, Kelvin van der Linde win at Zandvoort. The BMW victorious after a fascinating race. Wonderful pit stops from the WR team yet again. Bring that car through as a winner. Second place, the driver of the day, Ivan Klimenko, to win silver with Laurens Leclerc. Third goes the way of Luca Engler and Jordan Pepper. Fourth, Marvin Kirchhoff and Benji Goethe. Fifth on the road, Lucas Auer and Maro Engel ahead of Patrick Niederhauser and Sven Müller, but then you put the penalty onto the Mercedes, and we'll wait and see where that drops. A win in gold to Thierry Vermeulen. and Chris Lullen. We know about the silver winners, Lawrence Leclerc and Evan Klemenko, and bronze should go the way of Dennis Marshall and Dustin Blattner, the Ferrari, across the line. And a really, really impressive job done. So let's look at the results. Charles Weerts, the race winner, with the opening stint done by Kelvin van der Linde from Lawrence Leclerc and Ivan Klemenko. Luca Engschler and Jordan Pepper third, ahead of Marvin Kirchhoff and Benji Goethe. Patrick Niederhauser and Sven Muller coming home fifth. And then sixth, Alex Arca and Ezekiel Perez Compang. Outside that top six, you go to 13 to find your winning Gold Cup entry, Thierry Vermeulen and Chris Lullen. And a little bit further back after that, the number 74 Ferrari coming home 22nd to win bronze, Dennis Marshall and Dustin Blattner. Arthur Rougier doing the fastest lap of the race, and only, relatively speaking, 2 non-finishers. There was an awful lot going on in the race, but it was nowhere near as frenetic and as destructive as yesterday. And 21st, just to make the point, the Ford Mustang, Yusufa Vega and Roma Andriolo, a car that didn't get anywhere other than turn 3 yesterday after damage. The Corvette likewise 23rd today. And then Charles Weerts and Kelvin van der Linde will take the race winners' trophies at the end of a mighty effort, and as much of that was down to the drivers as it was the pit crew turning that car around so impressively.